also interesting, it was a couple weeks ago, I was just hanging out. I heard Robin Williams come through. And he acknowledged that he was going to come through at some point. And so it's interesting because throughout this, I've always had like a weird kind of a connection mentally with you and him. Like I've placed them together odd enough. But when he did come through, it was very brief and it was almost like he was going to try to come through again. How close of a relationship did you have to him, or did you know him?
I knew him, and he was somebody that I saw a lot when I was much younger.
Right.
I met him when I was a child, and then he did comedy at this comedy club that I lived across the street from.
Right.
So he was very famous at that point, and you know, his death was really, I think, hard for the entire comedy community. I knew him as most people kind of knew him, but then I knew him a little personally, and I think that he was also kind of unknowable.
Sure.
That he was very difficult to connect with on a personal level because he was very shy. He was a bit embarrassed by his own fame and his own largesse, because people would freak out when they'd see him. For me personally, what Robin Williams always did, there was like tough lessons because he would always bump me at the comedy club, so I would have to go on after him, and that's how I learned how to do comedy, is bombing after him for my entire childhood. I was really a child doing comedy, but I had to go on after him. It was so terrible. I learned incredibly well from him, so I think that was the greatest gift.
This is gonna sound a little strange. I don't know if I want to bring this person through, but there's someone else that's popping in. We have a younger woman who's stepping forward who feels like she passed away too soon. And when she's coming through, she's making my lungs hurt quite a bit. And mentally, this feels strange. Physically, this feels strange. She's blaming an outside influence and saying that she was in a very manipulative situation where I actually feel like an outside person was detrimental in influencing a lot of her actions or inactions in certain areas. There is reference to a B initial. B. Put this. She would have been very, well, okay, she's giving me more, so I have to kind of, do you mind if I go with it?
Go for it.
I just saw Britney Spears, so that's usually reference to Brittany, the name Brittany.
Brittany Murphy. Oh my God.
That was a gift.
Great. There's a weird reference to an individual who died tragically at like a very early age that I would have to highlight.
Oh my God, I mean,
Of course, it's sad in any case where there's a tragedy with this, but from her perspective, the amount of life that she had inside of her was intense in the way that it comes across of like, I'm a force. And she comes through in that way of like, I'm a force. Like if she walks in the room, I feel like everyone looks at her. It's like when she's coming through, it's like, I'm coming in. And it's like fabulous.
Incredible. I knew exactly who Tyler was connecting with. And of course, when I gave Tyler the ring, he almost immediately characterized her exactly how she was and was so on point that I felt her presence.
It seems such like a heavy, like, sensation. But this is a woman that is acknowledging this feeling. The acknowledgement is like, there's no way to get through this. This just happens. But I'm viewing it as tragic. When people are old and they pass, they don't view that as tragic. When people are young and they pass, they view it as tragic.
It's sort of a little bit overwhelming when you...
But do you know of anyone who would fit that bill?
Yeah.
Wow.
Girlfriend. Her name's Carolyn. Tyler was connecting with Carolyn Bassett, who was my closest friend and also my cousin by marriage. My late husband, Anthony, and his cousin, John Kennedy, was married to Carolyn, so she was Carolyn Bassett Kennedy. So not only were we friends, but we were family. But I didn't get the sense at all that he knew who she was.
There was something I had to ask you about was these photos that I brought.
Oh, great.
So my friend Billy, my best friend in the whole entire world, he passed away about 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, this was like my best friend. And we did everything together and stuff like that. And he passed in a motorcycle accident.
Oh,
and we were together all the time. And so it's like, I don't know if there's anything that you see, the way he died, how do you go living your life one day with him every single day, then all of a sudden, you don't. You live life without them, and I don't talk to anybody about this because I'm a public figure, but I'm private in that aspect.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I'll just kind of let you know if I feel anything that kind of fits that bill, and we'll just kind of go down a couple things real quick and see if anything connects. There is a visual that's coming through. Feeling is, if I were turning, I would be fine. But I'm up straight. And this is the weird thing in the way this is coming across. I don't have the time to be able to correct anything that would have gone wrong. The feeling is the center of balance isn't at the center of the vehicle. It's almost like if someone's veering or turning and it's more on one side or more on the other, and we can't adjust quick enough. The focus is almost like I don't have the balance.
Okay. So I'm shaking right now. Hear you say that? That's exactly what happened. He was racing somebody, and all he had to do was veer, and he didn't. He went straight because he probably was going too fast. You have to lean into the turns, and for some reason, he wasn't able to lean, and he went straight into that van and crashed right into it.
Right.
That's crazy that you know that. No one, you can't Google that if you wanted to. There's nothing.
I'm so sorry, yeah, because it's all in this split second.
Man, that's so crazy.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened, and this happened so quickly that nothing could have been done. The way that this kind of came across is there was a feeling of this happened so fast.
Yeah.
It would have been pointless to even go to a hospital, because the feeling is like...
He didn't go to the hospital, he was dead on the scene.
Yeah, from the get-go, it's like I know that this is so bad that there's nothing that's gonna save me at a hospital. It's pointless.
Nothing, yeah.
They're showing me an IV, and that always indicates like something we would put into our bodies. But I feel like I am under the influence of some form of a substance. But then the weird thing is this person didn't necessarily take more than they were used to. There's something weird because I feel like before there had been this period where they hadn't abused drugs and their tolerance went down. And there's this feeling of, well, this old amount I would have been fine with, but my body's tolerance went down in some capacity. So there's an acknowledgement of this. There's more to this. He is bringing up a female contemporary. Do you know if he had a sister or a girlfriend?
Sister.
Sister. He just keeps bringing up the message towards his sister, basically like the ambiguity thing.
Yeah.
Like she really needs to know that he did not mean to kill himself. Like this was not intentional in the way that it feels. In the months leading up to his passing, I just feel like someone from his past may have kind of either triggered him or put him in some form of a headspace where doing this now would feel like a good idea. Someone just kind of was like, hey, wanna go do this? And then he couldn't not. It's like this person shouldn't have been, that influence shouldn't have been in any way there to trigger me almost. And it kind of comes through.
Yeah.
So that's very much for sister in this way.
Yeah.
Does that make some sense?
100%. My friend Kevin, he lived a couple blocks away from me growing up, and we lost touch. And then I randomly saw him at a recovery meeting, and he was like fresh out of jail and had 60 days of sobriety, and we just kind of picked up a new relationship. We were kids growing up, but him carrying like the monkey on his back, he had very intense anxiety, and it often led him back to relapse.